Just some of the dudes. All right. Hit the like button. We appreciate you guys very much. I'm going to get this page here for Zander here because I heard him and John McMullen. By the way, doing a great job at Birds 365. Here is our friend Zander Krause. Don't forget, Jason Cole has some national news. That'll be 4:30, and also Philly Godfather will be with us at 5:30. Zander, how you doing, brother?
Big Stills, what's up, brother? Good to be on with you, man.
You got it. Zander, listen to this. Boy, you were right. You were right. I talked to Doug Williams.
All right.
And inability to play through contact in open space. This is Dotson. On the field fighting for footballs, he's not a strong player in fighting for footballs and jump balls. He can't get off of jams off the line of scrimmage. He lacks playing physical, and they say this. Now, if you have him in space, he seems to be able to find the open space because he does run precise routes. And if you add this to the mix, you move off a guy 2 years after drafting him 16th, and you do it in the division, and you bail on him. I mean,
listen, it doesn't look good.
24 hours after, do you have less of an opinion? I have lesser of an opinion.
No, I mean, look, I feel pretty similar to how I felt. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Sorry, I had someone outside. I had to quiet down for a second. No, I feel the same I did about it yesterday. I mean, look, he's not going to have to play CB2s, here. He's got a much different role here in Philly than he would have had somewhere else, and I think that changes the projection for him than what he had there. But there's no doubt about it that it's concerning. I mean, this is a guy that was drafted 16th overall. We kept J.J. Arcega-Whiteside longer than they kept this guy. So it's a new regime. There's a lot of context that can be added in. I do think he helps the team.
Yeah.
But to sit here and say all of a sudden we're like more of a Super Bowl contender, I think is wrong. I think it's good insurance. I think it elevates your chances at reaching your ceiling on offense. But outside of that, it's all right, man. I mean, it's okay. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. We did upgrade our wide receiver 3 room, but James Jones is in here. He watched them. I mean, he's a Commander fan, obviously. James, what did you watch from Jahan Dotson? I think he's a good piece. I think it's good for a wide receiver 3, but there's definitely some concerns with the guy. I don't think he's going to be a big guy. I think right what I said yesterday. I think he's going to have 400 yards, somewhere in that range. And he's just got to catch the ones that we throw to him. That's the most important part about it is answer the bell when it's called, or else you're going to be useless, basically. So.
Well, here's something John said that's right. You can't just extrapolate 500 yards. He's in a 2 role. He's going to have twice as few passes thrown to him than he did when he was in the 2 role in Washington.
Well, here's something too I'll give you, which I think you'll appreciate. Because I know you remember earlier in the offseason when you talked about, what you would do with guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And you talked about moving them into the slot and being able to move them around. Even if they don't go to this guy a lot, it gives you the ability to move receivers inside, outside.
Versatility.
Right, versatility in the offense, which I think will play a big role in what he can do here. So from that perspective, I like it, but I don't think he's going to be an impact player. That's my thing with it. And then you do go back to the defense thing, but it's tough to do that because you don't know the context. Like if the trade for defense wasn't there, you don't want to say don't make the move just to improve the defense, but you couldn't improve the defense, so.
No, I'm not making a shitty move just to make a shitty move for a defensive football player.
Right, exactly. So like if the move wasn't there that made the defense that much better, then it is a good move. Look, it's depth and insurance, and you sent a 3rd-round pick. We could argue that you shouldn't have sent a 3rd-round pick for depth and insurance on a $175 million offense. You could also argue it's a great thing to do when you're trying to get to a Super Bowl. So I see both sides. I understand both sides. I'm Awake has been on my ass. He's like, come on, man, this is bull. I'm Awake. I just don't love the deal, man. I like it. I think it's solid. I think there's been a massive overreaction, even on a national scale, to the deal. you have Emmanuel Acho out there. Oh, there's not a guy that can cover this team. Well, I'm like, why? Because we got a guy who was a categoric bust in Washington. I don't think. I mean, look, it's good.
The same offense a year ago, man. People cover. I mean, look, this again. The coordinator, I get it. But Huss, you had two guys with career years a year ago at wideout. I mean, when people say that, and you had a 1,100-yard back last year, you had a quarterback that threw for more yards and more touchdowns than any time since he's been in Philly. What happened? And all of a sudden now, you add a guy who Washington quit on. You're all of a sudden now going to be a 4,600-yard passer this year? Give me a fucking break, dude. I tell you, but by the way, this also goes to this too. And I can't believe people can't see this, Zander. There is no way on the planet Jalen Hurts is going to run the football this year unless there's design plays that are going to be called, because you're not like that Green Bay game. Dude, they're going to throw the ball 35 times in that game at minimum. You don't go and trade for a former first rounder, have a first rounder at the Z, and look over at the Y and a $35 million guy and a $25 million guy and a $15 million guy and a $10 million guy and go, I'm going to put the ball in Kenny Gainwell's hands.
Yeah, no, you're right. And there's no doubt about it. You're right. And, some people are like, where's JM? He's like, bust. I mean, JM, let me ask you.
He is a bust.
If Devontae Smith averaged 500 yards a year as a first-round draft pick.
With Jalen.
Would you be happy with that? That's like him getting 500 yards is like Devontae Smith getting 500 yards in our offense. Devontae Smith had 1,100 yards last year. Twice in a row.
And he's averaged 1,000 since he's been in the league.
Exactly. So, don't sit here and tell me that this guy has performed up to par. He was a first-round draft pick as a wide receiver. If you expect a first-round draft pick to contribute 500 yards to your offense and think it's good, then I have different expectations than you. That's all.
Hey, when you move off a guy after a year and a half and he was a 16th pick and you go like this, he's so bad I'm trading him in my division. I mean,
yeah, it's funny because Howie keeps doing deals with this new GM down in Washington.
Adam Peters. I actually like him.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's not bad. I mean, we'll see what he can do. I think they're on the upswing with Commanders. That's the other thing. You can chalk it up to a little bit of a new regime, a new owner, new coaching staff, new GM. But they have no ties to this guy as a first-round draft pick, technically. So they may be trying to stack some assets, get ready for their next era of football in Washington with Jaden Daniels and the guys. And they identified him as a guy that wasn't a core piece for the future. So they took what they could get. Nobody else was offering him a third-round pick. I can assure you of that. For this guy. So they decided to send him in division and cut their losses on him. So
how about this one? What do you make of that? What Bob just said there.
What's that, Sills?
What do you make of this right here? What Bob just said.
This trade was Howie's ego combined with a lack of football knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I think you could go that route, Bob. But at the end of the day, it does add some depth, and I do think it creates the opportunity to move receivers around a little bit more. I think it benefits you more on the outside than it does in the slot because the guy is typically an outside wideout. So that I can move AJ inside anytime I want now. Kellen's probably oozing out the mouth right now, drooling because he knows what he's able to set up with these wideouts. But overall, I wouldn't go as far as you went there, Bob. I love you, Bob, but I wouldn't go quite that far. On calling it a total lack of football knowledge and an ego move, but there's definitely some of that.
No, but I think what you said there, Zander, is this. He probably looked at linebackers and edge and said, no, that's not a move I want to make, and went to the third option move.
See, this is where
if I can upgrade the third wide receiver position, which he did, and he's not paying him, it's $1 million. Basically, he's paying the money that he paid every wideout at wide receiver 3 the last couple of years, $1 million, 900 something million, 900,000, whatever it is. And you got control of the guy for the next 2 years. I mean, dude, if you signed a veteran wide receiver, you'd be paying more. Yeah,
no doubt. I mean, that's where I agree with Bob. You don't give up a third for depth. You could argue it's a little much. Now they got back a fifth. The seventh, I don't care about. They did give up the better of their third rounder. So, people are like, they still have a third. Well, I would have rather had 2, but look, I'm not going to knock them. I'm okay with the move. And just to, Uncle, and thanks for the super chat, man. We appreciate it. He says, look at who was thrown to Jahan Dotson for the last couple of years. But let's be cautiously optimistic. I hear you, but Sam Howell threw for nearly 4,000 yards last year. He had more yards in the air than Jalen Hurts did last year.
He did.
So he's the second receiver on that football team. Like I said, that's like saying Devontae would have had 500 yards here, and we would have been okay with it. I know why Washington was happy they got rid of this guy. He underperformed for them in a big way.
Sam Howell threw for 800 yards in 2 games last year combined against the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, he was 64% completions for 39-46 and 21 touchdowns last year. And I threw 21 picks. I'm not saying Sam Howell's this great quarterback, but he did have some yards. I mean, come on.
How many yards did he throw for? Did he throw for $4,000?
39-46. So 54 shy.
So a little bit more than Hurts did, right? And that's Sam Howell.
Yeah, a little bit more than Hurts. Yep.
And he's a backup. Man. All right. Hey, by the way, I love the guy on the other end. And I do think Adam Peters now in that Brandon Ayuk trade now, because I think that's going to be part of a package for a third rounder in there with a first rounder. They're going to demand.
Look at this clown cells. No standards on his team. Negative ass. I have this team winning 13 games this year. I have this team going to the NFC title game. I don't agree with you on one trade on August 22nd, and I'm a hater. My man, the world doesn't revolve around you and your opinions. That's crazy for you to say that. I'm a diehard Eagle fan. Just because I don't love the move.
Welcome to my world.
I mean, are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me, DRC. I love you, brother, but you got to be
some people in here want you waving your Rob Ellis fucking pom-poms. That's what they want you to do, your Mike Missinelli pom-poms.
Yeah,
that's what they want. Or you're crossing broad pom-poms. Losers.
DRC says he's not a clown. Now, you're not a clown, DRC. I'm just coming at you for shitting on me.
It's all good. We're boys. DRC knows that. Relax, kid.
Hey, it's football, man. We got to disagree every once in a while.
You're here on this show, and you're a major part of it, so shut up and sit down. All right. Now a question for you. Offense. What do you think the biggest strength is on this football team as we're 14 days out to Green Bay in Brazil? Got a final exhibition game tomorrow against Minnesota. What's the strength, in your opinion, of the offensive football team?
It's funny. Everybody's going to be like, what the hell? But it's the wide receivers. I mean, now you just solidified that you have more depth. You have the two. I would say that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are the best duo in the NFL. There is not two receivers. Now, people say Miami with Waddle and Hill. I'll take my two. Thank you very much. The Niners guys, Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, I'll take Brown and Smitty all day. I think they're the best top two wideouts in the league. Now,
you think they're better than Higgins and Chase?
I'm not high on Dotson, but it does improve the depth of the room, which was a concern, and they did answer the bell on that. And I would say that, and then I would say the quarterback. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is under. I think he went from overrated in 22, where everybody drank a little bit too much Kool-Aid, to he's now severely underrated. This is a guy who has gotten better every single year of his career, who's got talent all around him, who is working his butt off, who has showed already through camp he understands where he went wrong last year, turning the football over. I think he has a massive year this year. I said it yesterday. I said it on a bunch of shows through the offseason. I've continued to say it. I think it's Jalen Hurts' year this year. I think he could be an MVP caliber, MVP candidate this year.
You think the Eagles have a better wide receiving core than Higgins and Jamar Chase?
I do. I think A.J. Brown's better than Jamar Chase. Now, many people won't agree with that, but call it a pick 'em. I'm taking Devontae Smith over T. Higgins every 10 times out of 10, 100 times out of 100. So that gives me the edge over the Bengals. If you want to argue Jamar is better than A.J., it's not by a lot. It's marginal at best. So I'm taking Eagles.
Jamar Chase is not better than A.J. Brown.
I don't think so either. That's what I said. By the way, T. Higgins is not on Devontae Smith's level. Devontae Smith is severely underrated in the league because of playing behind A.J. Brown. If he was given an opportunity, which I'm not upset with the setup. I'm happy that we have the guys we have. But if Devontae was a bona fide number one, like CeeDee Lamb is down in Dallas, he'd be putting up 1,700 yards a year. There's nobody that can cover him. His routes are so good. He plays with a toughness that a 175-pound dude should not play with. He is a good wide. I think the league is sleeping on him still.
If I had to put two wide receivers ahead of AJ in the NFL, Jefferson for sure. Then I would put
Yeah, but look, I like Jefferson too, but
Jefferson's the best wide receiver.
He's coming off a big injury, Sills. Like, let's see what he does. And by the way,
he came off an injury last year, and you get this in 9 games, he had 1,200 yards.
And who was his quarterback?
I don't know.
It was Kirk Cousins.
No,
it wasn't last year.
No, it wasn't. He lost him in week 4.
That's right.
Or week 6, he lost him.
I'm just saying.
And he was hurt already.
There's a lot of moving parts for him right now. So I'm just saying, I don't believe that. I do think he's the most talented wide receiver in the league. And Handsome Hustler puts Tyreek Hill. I like Tyreek.
I would take AJ over him.
I would too, because you got to have the right quarterback for Tyreek Hill. You got to have an air raid type of guy who can kind of launch it out there and let Tyreek go get it. We don't have that. Hurts can do that, but that's not our offense. And I think
you could flip a coin on Devontae Adams and AJ on 2 and 3.
Devontae Adams was better.
Devontae Adams is a great football player.
I know, but he's what, 31 now, Sills?
That's why I said you could flip a coin on him, man. He's a really great route runner, and he's physical.
Oh, I know. Believe me, I love Devontae Adams. I just think he's probably a little bit past. How old is Devontae Adams?
He's got to be up there. He's got to. I mean, he's been playing up.
31.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what's AJ 26?
AJ's 27, man.
He's 27.
I think he's 27.
Something like that. AJ. Yeah, he's in there. That's still way young.
He's 27, and he just turned 27 2 months ago in June, end of June.
Yeah, he's way young. Way young. Let me go over to the defense now. What's the strength of the defense in your opinion?
Strength of the defense got to be that defensive line, and it's funny because I question whether. Look, I know we might not have the superstars at the edge that we want, but we have serious depth there. You have Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, Brandon Graham, the guy Patrick Johnson, and the 3rd-round draft pick Jalix Hunt.
Boy, I can go like this. You got a 37-year-old backup guy. You've got 2 guys that haven't done shit.
You have a 1st-round pick, Riding Pine.
Who? Nolan?
As a depth piece?
I don't know. Have you seen enough where you go like this?
That's a fair take because Nolan hasn't done anything. I'm just saying from a depth perspective, they do have a lot of guys in there.
These guys' draft positions sometimes cloud people's views of what they've done.
I guess you could probably say the corners would be more deep than the line. But there's still a lot of projection there too. That's the whole defense, Sills. We have projection everywhere.
That's right. That's what my point is in this exercise here is that to me, the only strength you have is in those interior tackles.
Yeah, and even there a little bit of projection.
Because you know why? I'm giving Jalen Carter the benefit because it was a rookie year, and after week 13, he kind of fell off like everyone does. Davis, on the other hand,
everybody on defense fell off.
Okay, I mean, plus you have Milton, that 3-man deal there, so you're good there, right? Your edge, I like Josh. Okay,
Josh is good in moments.
Josh is better than Nolan Smith.
Well, he's certainly done more in his career, no doubt about that. But Josh is good in moments. He's a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. But I believe a lot of that last year was based on the snap count. He just had too many snaps, man. Remember, most people know he had that catastrophic injury before he was in the pros. And I just think he's a guy you have to keep the snap count low. And when you keep it low and you keep him, spry, he's better. You got to keep keep gas in the tank on Josh Sweat. But I like him. I don't love him. I'm good with him, but I'm not like he's untradeable, No.
But I think he's a 3-down player, whereas I don't think
he's definitely a 3-down player. I see what you're saying. He fits the mold of a 3-down guy a lot more than the other guys do.
Yep. That's where I'd like
no doubt about that.
Here's one of the topics that I didn't get to because everybody's bitching at me about some stupid shit. Who is the most important players this year for 2024 Eagles? Let's do defense first. Who's the most important defensive football player in your opinion for the success of this team this year?
There's no doubt Jalen Carter. No, there's not a doubt in my mind that it's Jalen Carter, number 1. And then number 2, you could honestly put Jordan Davis. If those 2 dudes don't produce to the level we need them to produce, the entire defense will not work. You won't be able to leave the corners in soft coverage. The linebackers are not going to be able to make any plays. They'll be tackling guys like they were last year, 6-7 yards, past the line of scrimmage. So the whole defense hinges on that front, and those 2 guys are the start of it. And I think it's Carter and Davis, and then you got to go with at least one linebacker, and I guess maybe Slay. If Slay doesn't hold up, you're going to have an issue on that back end. I think it's too many young guys.
Can I tell you who I think the number one for the success of this team is? Bryce Huff.
I was going to go there.
Here's why. If he gets pressure, like, remember when Reddick turned the key on in 22? What happened? Everyone else.
The first 7 games of the year, you were asking, where the heck is Hassan Reddick?
Right. And then get this. Everyone picked their game up when he picked his game up. And the same corners that were in 22 were there last year. What was the difference? The pressure getting to the quarterback and the hits on the quarterback. Zander, the two different things compared from the 22 successful Super Bowl run and the 23 failure of the end of the season last year were this: pressure on the quarterback and turnovers. That was the difference in the 2 years. You've got to get pressure this year, dude. If that defense cannot get pressure, I don't care who you have in the secondary. You could have Patrick Surtain II back there. You're going to get eaten alive back there because you're just not. Look at the pressure, what it did to Jalen Hurts a year ago when he couldn't pick up the blitz coverage. Look what it did to him down the stretch.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, it's a good point, and it shows how important that position is this year. And if Bryce Huff doesn't play up to what we need him to play up to, you could argue that that's going to be a big hit as well. I just, can he piecemeal that type of production with Nolan and with BG and with Josh Sweat?
Kevin White.
Yeah, right. Dudes. Potentially where there's other guys. So I don't know. I'm not going to say he's the most important guy, but I see your line of thinking completely.
How many points a game do you think this team scores?
28 plus.
That's my number.
28 plus. I think if you score 28 points a game, realistically, you're at the worst an 11-12 win football team.
Well, wait. How many points will your defense surrender?
Well, that's a good question. How many did they surrender last year? A game?
I think they were 30th in points against last year. Eagles.
Let me look up if I can get that number real quick.
Because that's only
I'm
a 7
curious
point.
To know how much they gave up last year.
And remember too, it was a tale of two. It was a tale of two defenses. Because I'd really like to know what the last 10 games looked like and how many points they were surrendering. What's his name? Reuben Franks. Remember what he was doing? He was putting a stat up that they were surrendering 138 yards a carry on the ground, or 38 yards.
So they gave up 25.2 points per game last year, and they scored 25.5 points per game.
That's a 500 team.
Well, I think they're going to score more this year. I think 25 goes to 28, and I think you could realistically lower that the points against per game down to 24 or lower.
Really?
1 point per game less with Vic Fangio? I mean, come on. Sean Desai and Matt Patricia don't hold a candle to Vic Fangio.
Is Vic Fangio the biggest factor?
It's a good question, Eric.
Remember what Vic said, though. Remember what he says.
By the way, Eric, thanks for becoming a member, man. I appreciate that. The support of the channel is massive. We appreciate it, brother.
And by the way, please hit the like button, guys. Remember what Vic keeps saying, though, Zander. He keeps saying schemes don't make great defenses. Great players do. You got to keep putting that into it. There's no question Fangio knows what exactly he's got to do. And for the record, going out and making a trade, that's not why you hire Vic Fangio. You hire Vic Fangio to figure out, and he's a problem solver, Zander. The problem that you had with Gannon went to Howie, and they needed defensive tackle help. He didn't have Vic's ego is not going to run to Howie and go, hey, I need an edge rusher.
Right.
This is where I think Gannon, boy, I can't say it. I'm not going to say it, but I'll tell you what, Gannon went like this. I need defensive tackle help. When they got Linval Joseph and Sue, the entire defense came together.
Listen,
and Gannon had to have done that.
Are you telling me you think Gannon's a better coordinator than Fangio?
Oh, no, I did not say that.
Is that
I'm
where you
saying-
were about to go?
Oh, wait. No, what I said is that I think his ego didn't get in the way of that.
See, I don't know, man. I don't know if I agree with that. I think
Do you
Fangio
remember
is,
the Indianapolis game when Howie Roseman was
but what makes
waiting
you think that Fangio is not telling him what he needs?
I'm asking, wait, let me go here. Don't you remember at the Indianapolis game when all of a sudden when those two guys walked in, there was Howie waiting outside the locker room. And as soon as Joseph and Sue walked in, he's sitting there going like this. Here's my guy. And I'm just saying here.
I know, but here's the thing. Here's where I disagree. Because I see what you're saying, but there's several moves that the Eagles made this year on defense that point to Vic Fangio.
The draft choices.
More than that, Jalix Hunt is a great one, the draft pick, who's a guy that's a former safety. What about the signing and the trading of Hassan Reddick? Hassan Reddick had no interest in dropping into coverage. They go get Bryce Huff. Now, he might not have done it in the past, but you can hear Vic Fangio say he's got to get better at it. He's got to learn it. Look at
so you think Vic Fangio is going to want Howie to sign a guy who doesn't know how to play a position yet?
What do you mean?
Okay, well, all I hear out of Vic at a press conference is guy's learning how to play the run. He's learning how to cover. He's a work in progress. We think he can get there. But, hey, you know what? He's not there now.
The drafting of Quinyon, the drafting of
Jalen, the drafting of Cooper, those were zone cover
corners. And then you signed Bryce Huff, who was a younger guy that is more moldable or malleable, if you will. As an edge rusher. So I think they're going to listen to Vic Fangio. If he goes to them and says, I'm not going to have a better defense than a 25th ranked defense if you don't get me a guy, how he's going to do what he does and go and get somebody.
So who do you think brought in wide receiver 3? Was that Kellen?
No, I think that was Howie. I think Kellen, maybe they asked him about it. I think he probably, like I said, was drawn.
Howie just added a guy to the team without talking to the coordinator?
Well, no, I think he talked to him, but at the end of the day, you're not sitting here telling me Kellen Moore's got more say than Howie Roseman.
No, I'm saying that this is that Howie's
Kellen Moore can look at Howie and say, hey, take your 3rd round pick and get me a wide
Howie's in the
receiver.
coaching meetings, listening. That's how he makes his assessments. Maybe. He's in the coaching meetings.
There's potential.
Because guess this, like you said, if you're sitting in a meeting, Zander, and you got Howie Roseman in there, and you hear even Jalen saying it. And he's in there, and you hear the wide receiver coaches, and you hear the offensive coordinator, and you hear even Nick going like this. Look, yeah, no, man, I don't know, man. We don't have anybody at 3 here, and I don't think we got a guy in the room. They're not going to tell the public the truth. You know that. But they're going to be looking at one another and coming to Jesus conversations. How he's going to go like this. All right, well, if there's a viable trade out here, what do you guys think? Do I think it went down like that? Yeah. He probably didn't have a guy at that time.
Yeah.
And then he found the guy.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to go there.
I don't think he just parachutes a guy in and goes, here's a guy.
He doesn't. It's obviously a collective conversation, but Howie's the guy pulling the trigger when you're sending a 3rd round draft pick. And
wait a minute, though. I will to your side. Last year, when the Cowboys made the deal for Trey Lance, Dak Prescott walked in and went, who the fuck are you? He goes, I'm Trey Lance. He's like, what? Nobody in the building knew that Jerry went out and made a deal and put Trey Lance on the Cowboys. Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
My point is, I don't think it was all Kellen. I think it was a collaboration. I think they were in work, and Kellen said, look, if you can get me a guy, I'll take him. And Howie went to work and found the right deal, felt comfortable with what he wanted. Ultimately, Howie's making that decision, though. If you're sending draft capital for a player, Howie Roseman has the final say. That's a fact in Philadelphia, and I have no problem with it because I think Howie's done a pretty good job at managing his draft picks in recent years. So, JM does bring up a good point because Kellen did kind of prove that he wasn't, Kellen implicitly stated he did not say that, JM. You know that. But he gave the big word salad. It's been a lot of fun and all this crap. And,
he did not say that.
I kind of like JM's take, though, because JM is reading between the lines a little bit where Kellen's up there like giving you this.
But not Sills, JM. You can read between.
Yeah, JM is right, though. He said fun, Sills. This is what Kellen Moore said when he was talking about the wide receiver 3. It's been a lot of fun or something working with all those guys.
Sitting in a coaching meeting when someone goes, this is fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, look, maybe it does tip the hand that Kellen had a say in it. But at the end of the day, I think
it's collaborative. I think it's collaborative, and then how he makes the call.
It's not. Yeah, everything's a little bit collaborative for sure.
But the third rounder, dude.
I guess they got back a fifth, right?
That's his call for sure.
Yeah, I thought a third was steep. I guess they got back a fifth, so that it's kind of a pick swap where they dropped 2 rounds. But yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't have gone that far for a guy like Dotson, but that's what they did, and and ultimately it does make the team better. So I'm not going to cry about a future draft pick right now.
Swansky goes, thank you for the super chat. Sills, name a player that Vic gave praise to. The guy Hamilton in Baltimore says he's an exceptional football player and he's a unicorn.
Well,
And
Kyle Hamilton is an exceptional football player.
He goes, that guy's an exceptional player. I heard him say that. And by the way, Swansky, you don't have a player to give praise to yet on defense. And I think he's been giving Quinyon Mitchell some praise for a rookie guy who hasn't done dick yet. I think he said that he's doing well, and he likes the fact that he's been in a nickel and he's been over at the corner and he's doing both. I think that's a lot of praise. When you hear Vic Fangio talk,
I'm by the way, John on the Quinyon thing though. Like I'm cool with him having him at the slot, but like, yeah, dude, put that guy on the outside.
Not if he's not good enough, or if he doesn't understand the defense yet.
Well, I think he is good enough, and I think Vic has acted like he's good enough, and
then why isn't he starting over? If it's either Keely Ringo or it's Isaiah Rodgers right now. I don't.
Yeah, and I'd rather have I'd rather have Quinyon Mitchell over both of those guys.
Even if he has not played in an NFL ball game yet.
Yeah, I understand that, but he's a first-round draft pick. You want to rip Band-Aids off? Rip the Band-Aid off the right way.
So we're going to compromise once again, winning again, like you said, in case we have a guy get beat deep. You're going to be cool with that. I am. Hey, wait. Trent McDuffie
went through that black and white, brother.
Wait. Trent McDuffie went through that early.
It's not black and white though. It's not like if I put Quinyon on the outside, that means I'm going to lose football games.
Well, I'll tell you what. The odds, my opinion, the odds are with a guy who is a lesser experienced player versus a more experienced player.
How much lesser experience?
More experienced player.
The guys that he's going up against aren't that
experienced. Got you to the Super Bowl in 22. You got a lot of talent on this team. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get to the Super Bowl. I picked you to go to
experience though. We had a lot of experience last year on the team.
I put 2,000. Well, not when you lost.
Go ask Eagle fans.
Top tacklers, 5 of your top 6 tacklers last year. I said no way.
Yeah, but go ask Eagle fans about the experience they had on the back end last year. James Bradbury's experienced. Slay was experienced. Slay didn't have his best year last year. All the dudes.
And you lost 11 sacks in the middle, and you lost 350 tackles in the middle, right?
Well, Fletcher Cox was still there.
You lost 11 sacks with Javon Hargrave, and you combine that with the other 6, okay?
I'd rather have Jalen Carter than Javon Hargrave.
And you lost Sue and Linville Joseph in the same process. Who were your run stoppers? Okay, hey, I say this about Barkley. Finally here, Zander. I say this about Barkley. For some reason, I don't know why, but I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the instrumental dude in this offense this year on how they're going to move the sticks. Because if I'm a defender, Zander, and I don't want to be predictable like I was last year, if I'm a linebacker or I'm a coordinator and I see the offense looking at me, who do I fear more? Well, I got to stop the run. Okay? I got to stop the run. Passing game, how many times do you see teams throw for 500 yards and lose? A bunch. How many times do you see a team run for 200 yards and lose? Barely ever. So I got to look at Barkley. Barkley's going to make me have to defend him because you know why? Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift, those are good ball players. This guy's and he's a better ball player because he does more. He blocks better in pass probe. He catches the ball better, and he doesn't run to contact. I've got to keep my integrity in the defense because of Barkley here. If Barkley's not in that backfield back there, I think you're destined for a kind of an issue where you're back to predictability again because your motion won't matter. Check it out, Zander. You send motion without Saquon Barkley.
Like McMullen.
Hey, well, wait a minute.
I hear what you're saying, though. I hear what you're saying.
You send motion without Barkley in the backfield. I'm not biting on it.
Yeah. No, you make up a good point. Here's my one, catch on it, though, is it sounds great, but it's old school football. And this team doesn't like playing that type of game. Like this owner wants a pass attack.
But that's the strengths of their team.
Well, not really.
Well, I don't think they're as good a pass protection team as they are a run team where they run the ball. Hey, Xander, in 22 you ran to the Super Bowl.
So we do have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith though.
Now in 2024, you're going to try to throw yourself to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I told you yesterday that I think Hurts is going to continue to get better, which is why I'm projecting it to work. You don't think he's going to get better. You think he's going to be what he is.
No, I think it's who he is. Yeah. I think the thing he's going to get better at is not turning the ball over.
And if he gets better at that, I'll tell you what, everything's going to get better.
Let me say this to you, Xander. If Jalen Hurts has 3,800 yards and 26 touchdowns and 6 picks, they're going to go to the NFC title game. If he goes for 4,500 yards passing, 30 touchdowns and 15 picks, they'll get bounced in the opening round.
Mad Bird's correct. It's going to be a mixed bag, no doubt. Kellen Moore is going to switch it up enough that we're going to feel comfortable. It's not predictable, and it might not be all one way your way or all one way pass happy. I think it's going to be a mixed bag, no doubt.
That's why when I say Barkley's numbers are 900 rushing, 450 receiving, it's because, dude, consistency is not going to be 25 carries a game over 17 ball games or 16 games or 14 games, whatever.
I don't think Barkley can hold up that long. So
I don't either.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think they want to stress him that way. I don't. But I think that offense has a good shot of running through him. I think if they're going to move the chains, there's 2 dudes, dude, that are going to open up everything. Goddard and Barkley.
You have any real fears with Barkley, though?
What?
Do you have any, fears with Saquon?
Health.
Yeah, health.
Can he handle the load? You know
and
what?
Tread on the tires, right?
What's that?
Tread on the tires, right?
Yeah, a lot of tread. But you know what I was really surprised with a year ago? DeAndre Swift, he held up. Now, here's the one thing with him, though. They didn't use him late. Okay, they got kind of away from handing him the ball.
We severely underutilized DeAndre Swift, and I don't think we're going to have that problem with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore does have a problem though on his hands with how he's going to feed all these mouths. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this football team. That's why people are projecting stats for Dotson. I'm like, dude, Dotson is. I'm happy he gives you some variability and everything, but he's not seeing the ball much.
If he gets you 40 catches this year for 350 yards,
yeah,
that's going to be an upgrade.
Yeah, take it.
Because combined, that's what you did with everybody in the position.
Agreed. Daz, completely agree. Daz on Goddard and Swift, completely agree, Daz.
Well, that's why Kellen Moore is in the building there. All right. Holy cow, man. I'll tell you, this Dotson guy, you got this guy looking like he's Mike Quick.
I do?
No. Everyone's got him looking like he's Mike Quick.
I don't. Everybody's on my ass because I don't love the move.
No, that's not what you said. You like the move for what he's being asked to do.
Yeah, right.
But for you thinking that, or people thinking that this guy's going to enhance the offense even more so, it gives them the option, like you said, Xander, to put him out on a Y or Z and bring down someone in the slot. It totally does that.
Shaquille, I appreciate you being here. You cannot be serious. He played nearly 1,000 snaps and had 1,000 touches at Penn State, 900 plus, and has had 1,200 plus in New York through a 6-year career. Find me another running back that's 27 and 28 in the modern era in the last 10 years that had got a second contract and produced at the level you're hoping Saquon produced. Come on, Shaquille. I'm trying to work with you here, but you got to be realistic. He does have major tread.
Hey, Shaquille, Saquon Barkley is an old 1966 Cutlass.
with a broken manifold.
No shit, dude. Hey, you need to put highway gears in there and get them shocks working, bro.
Well, listen, putting them in the Eagles' offense is adding a supercharger to that thing. So
that's right. That's where he gets.
You just dropped a supercharger on your engine.
That's right, man. And you put a blower on it. We're ready now. Let's go. Let's go get something here, Xander.
Exactly.
Where are we on the likes, my friend?
Wait, I want to hit the super chat. I'll check where we are in a sec. Abe says Barkley handled more load with the and that's part of the concern, Abe. I hear you. I agree with you. But that's part of the concern. Yeah, that's part of the concern.
Absolutely. Xander, where are we in that like list, man? How about yesterday, dude? We got over 600.
Oh my God, the show was absolutely on fire yesterday, Big Sales. 215, man, 215 just jumped up a little bit. Good stuff.
Fantastic, guys. You guys are absolutely killing it. By the way, bottom of the hour, we're going to do some national news and go around the NFL. It's the final election. Hey, real quick, what are you looking for tomorrow? The only thing I'm really looking at is Cooper DeJean tomorrow. I want to see what he looks like.
I'm not really looking at much. Yeah, I mean, Cooper DeJean's a good one. I think there's a couple guys. Maybe that depth on the O line, I think, is a solid
Trevor
thing
Keegan,
to look at.
Playing?
Yeah, what's that?
Is Trevor Keegan playing?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't gotten the update on his injury. He wasn't back out of practice though after that, so maybe not. But you're going to look at that guy Nick Gates, who John thinks is going to make the team. There's some questions on the depth on that O line for the first time in a little bit, so. I'll be watching that. I'll be watching a little bit of Tanner McKee, see what the wideouts can do a little bit. Maybe even a little Will Shipley in there tomorrow. He might get some stuff. Other than that, though, not many. You're not going to see much tomorrow.
You think that's going to be an all Tanner McKee show?
No, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but they might also play that Will Greer guy who's probably not going to be on the roster. So once he comes in, it's like, what am I even watching? But look, we'll be watching it. We'll be covering
a bad job, but you're right. You're right.
Like I said to you though before, there's only like 20 or 22, if you're lucky, 23 games, days a year that the Eagles are playing a football game. So yeah, I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it.
No, I get you there too. And by the way, on that roster, you probably have 6 open roster spots. I mean, dude. Hey, and most of them are going to be made by the draft choices. There's a hard chance for you to make that. Dude, a team like the Carolina Panthers and a team like the Eagles, what do you think? Where would you rather be drafted? Panthers or Eagles? I'd rather go to the Panthers. You know why? Chances of me making that ball club are a lot better than me making the Eagles.
Oh yeah, from a personal standpoint, no doubt about it. But if you're a solid player and you're going to
you better be a first or second rounder.
Now, if you're in Philly, man, if you're in Philly and you get drafted, you're going to make the squad.
So you think Anaya Smith's making the squad?
I do. I think they're going to.
Oh my God!
Wait, listen. I think they're going to keep AJ, Devontae, Dotson, Britton Covey, Johnny Wilson, and Anaya Smith. I think Paris Campbell, John Ross, all those dudes are out. Goodbye.
And we say goodbye to Zander. Don't forget. Are you doing anything on the weekend?
Yeah, we're doing a hit after the game. Everybody's asking me if I'm doing a game stream tomorrow. I don't have it in the plans. I'm not in my main studio. I'm down here in the beautiful Cape May, New Jersey. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it for the game, but we will be doing a show after the game tomorrow.
See that, man? Then he gets into the yacht, and him and Joe Krause go yachting. And Big Sills, just as a blue-collar guy here, man, I just a simple dude here, man. Hit the like button. We'll see you tomorrow, Xander. Great stuff as always. Thank you so much. Don't forget Birds 365 with him and John McMullen. Thanks, Xander.
Later, Sills.
You got it. Guys, do me a favor. Jason Cole will do some national NFL news. By the way, I still got to get to my Big Sills 2 Deep. Okay? My Big Sills 2 Deep for the Philadelphia Eagles. I got one more coming up. Hit that like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.